Import documentation in Nigeria can be divided into two. And after this, I'll talk about Ghana, Zambia, Uganda, and Cameroon. Import documentation in Nigeria can be divided into two. We have the pre-import and post-import documentation. Pre-import and post-import documentation. Of course, pre-import documentation basically has to do with documentation requirement before the shipment, and post-import has to do with documentation requirement after the shipment. In Nigeria, for example, duly completed Form M, that's the application form, pro forma invoice, local marine insurance, certificate of registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and permit that can be from different agencies like NAFDAC, DPR, SON, and PACN. Then we have the post-import documentation. Post-import documentation are documentation required after the good has been shipped and even arrived. There's a pre-clearance document and post-clearance document. So post-import documentation can be divided into two, pre-clearance and post-clearance. The pre-clearance include a bill of lading, it's a transport document, a commercial invoice for the payment, a packing list showing the detail of goods packed in the container, and product certificate, also called SON product certificate. Every product being imported into Nigeria is regulated by either SON or NAFDAC. Majority of them. If it's food and drug, it will be NAFDAC, National Food Drug Administration and Control, or Standard Union of Nigeria. I know in Ghana it's called Ghana Standard Board or Standard Authority, something like that. Then certificate of origin where applicable. Post-clearance, you will notice something in the post-clearance. Some of the documents in pre-clearance are there. Packing list, for example, product certificate from SON, for example, lab test certificate now, and bill of lading. In addition to that, in the course of clearing, pre-arrival assessment report is generated, single good declaration is generated, exit note is generated, import duty receipt is generated. These four documents are generated in the course of clearing. So they are the major documents. That's why they are called exchange control, because these documents are required for you to have access to the effects from government to be able to pay the import bill. Now, let's talk also about SON. SON is Standard Oil of Nigeria. They have a pre-shipment inspection program called SON Conformity Assessment Program called SONCAP. It's a pre-shipment verification of conformity to standard process used to verify that the product to be imported into Nigeria are in conformity with the applicable Nigeria industrial standard. Under this program, the product is expected to undergo verification and testing before shipment. This includes physical inspection prior to shipment, sampling, testing in accredited lab, auditing of the processes involved in the production, and documentary check for conformity. SON is not in every country, but it has representative or agent. They call them accredited inspection firm or accredited international firm. 6 of them: Cotecna, SGS, Intertech, CIQ, Biri Veritas, and CCIC. These 6 inspection agents in different parts of the world are agents of SON to do that inspection in different countries on behalf of SON and issue a product certificate when they get sample for analysis and SONCAP certificate when they want to ship. So that means before I go ahead, for me to process my application for import for approval into Nigeria, I will need an initial document from this overseas firm of SON called product certificate. Then, after the good is now ready for shipment, initially I'll get sample for analysis. When the good is ready for shipment, they will come and do inspection of the good I'm shipping, and they will issue a certificate of conformity called SONCAP certificate. The product exempted from this program include drug and food, with medical equipment because it's by other agency of government, chemical used as raw materials, military wares and equipment, good classified across that contraband by the government, and automobiles, used products apart from automobiles. The product certificate and SONCAP certificate are used for importation and clearance of goods. Importer is to activate product certificate and give the bank e-product certificate. The importer activates SONCAP, activate product certificate to process Form M on a platform, and also activate the SONCAP certificate on the same platform to process the pre-arrival assessment report. D2 certificates are required in the processing of Form M application form and pre-arrival assessment report, which is required for clearing of good when the good arrive. For someone importing for itself and personal use, particularly manufacturer importing raw material, they don't need a SUNCAP, they use import permit. Bona fide manufacturer may apply for import permit, and that will be used to clear their goods. But if you are importing item into Nigeria for the purpose of sales to the public, you need a SUNCAP certificate. Let's look at the import guideline in Nigeria. Then we now go to Ghana to look at the import process in Ghana. To import in Nigeria, all items of import must be processed using Form M. If Form M for goods subject to inspection shall be designated BA, those not subject to inspection shall be designated CB. If Form M for merchandise of goods is valid for 360 days, for machinery capital good is 720 days. A pro forma invoice is valid for 90 days. At the time you are processing application to government to import, the pro forma invoice the seller issued to the importer should not be more than 90 days old. The good value must be broken down in the pro forma invoice into CFR, FOB, and freight. In Nigeria, the only Incoterm allowed for import into Nigeria is called CFR. If you are shipping by sea, CPT. If you are shipping by road, and it must be broken down into freight and FOB, or freight and FCA on the document. The government wants to see what component of the cost is for transport, what component of the cost is for the goods, FOB. All goods to be imported into Nigeria is to be labeled in English. Importation of good and LC issuance can only be done after e-form must have been accepted by Nigerian Customs Service. Items such as food, drink, drug, chemical shall carry expiry date and shelf life, and the maximum shelf life at the time of import should not be more than half of the shelf life. Electrical appliances carry information on their life performance, cable carry information on their rating. Item not properly labeled can be seized. When item is fraudulently misrepresented, it can be seized also. The item of import before arrival in Nigeria, the document must have been sent. The document come in 3 original. 2 of the 3 should have been sent. If the payment method is letter of credit and bill for collection, 2 of 3 should have been sent directly to the bank of the importer by the exporter's bank, and 1 of 3 should be sent by the exporter to the importer's bank. So that means 3 of 3 will get to the bank, 1 of 3 will be sent by the exporter that shipped the goods, and the remaining 2 of 3 will be sent by the exporter's bank. All the documents in Nigeria must go to the importer's bank. If you are not using letter of credit and bill for collection as payment method, 2 of 3 can go to the bank and 1 of 3 can go to the importer. Completed Form M is electronically submitted online with attached pro forma invoice, insurance, and permit. Importer is to ensure that the pro forma invoice is in accordance with the procedure, that the documents are verifiable and genuine, and the shipping document should be forwarded to the bank before arrival of goods. In case of personal effect, if you enter Nigeria by air and you brought in luggage and the customs see that the luggage is of high valued goods, you will pay duty. It's called dutiable goods, because what you are brought in is above passenger concession at the airport. If I'm using a type of letter of credit called confirmed letter of credit, before I can pay, I must present this document to the bank. My Form M that I registered, approved, certificate of origin where applicable, product certificate from SUN, bill of lading for shipment, invoice, pro forma invoice, packing list, and letter of credit. If it is bill for collection, I will need the register Form M, certificate of origin, product certificate, bill of lading, bill of exchange, packing list, commercial invoice. Then those documents I mentioned to you earlier that are evidence that you have cleared the good. Government wants to be sure that if you come to claim forex to pay for goods imported into Nigeria, government wants to be sure that indeed that good came into Nigeria. So you need to present evidence of custom declaration SGD, evidence of pre-arrival arrival assessment PAR, exit note from the port, and evidence of paying import duty.